prosper its works for the advancement and benefit of its people, so that peace and happiness, unity and justice may be established amongst us all. Amen. Manningham City Council acknowledges the Wurundjeri people as the traditional custodians of the land we now know as Manningham. We pay our respects to Wurundjeri elders past and present and value the ongoing contribution to the cultural heritage of Manningham. Council would also like to acknowledge the contribution made to Manningham over the years of people of diverse cultures and backgrounds. I welcome all members of the public here tonight to this council meeting who've come along to observe proceedings. And I also recognise and welcome former councillor and mayor, Mr. Grivo Kostopoulos. I'd like to advise those present that tonight's meeting is being audio and video recorded. All care will be taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor of the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the gallery, it is assumed that your consent is given in the event that your voice and/or image is broadcast. All meetings are governed by a meeting procedure local law. I'll introduce each item of business as listed on the agenda, calling it by number and by reading the title. I will then call for a mover and a seconder of a motion on the item before opening any debate. Only councillors are able to join the debate on an item. Councillors may adopt the officer's recommendation in the report or propose amendments and supplementary motions. I'd like to draw your attention to item 7 on tonight's agenda, public question time, which provides people with an opportunity to ask questions of the council. Questions must be registered prior to the commencement of the meeting to be asked. If we do not have the information at hand to provide a meaningful response, the question may be taken on notice and a response provided in writing. I'd also like to stress that I will deal with a maximum of 2 questions per person and 2 questions on any item or issue. If you have more than 2 questions, please submit those additional questions in writing to council through the normal channels. All right, let's go to item number 2, apologies and requests for leave of absence. We have one apology, and that is from Councillor Conlon. Item number 3 on the agenda, prior notification of conflicts of interest. There are no prior notifications of conflict of interests have been received. Item number 4, confirmation of minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Galbally.
Yes, I'd like to move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on 27th of August 2019 be confirmed.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Haynes. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 5 on the agenda, presentations. There are no presentations. Item number 6 is petitions, and we have no petitions today. Item number 7 is public question time, and we do have a question that has been submitted to Council prior to the meeting today from Mr. Mark Wickens. So, Mr. Wickens, you're here? Yes. Terrific. If you'd like to come to the podium, you have up to 2 minutes to give a brief introduction if you would like before asking your question.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, I'm Mark Wickens. I live at 306 Oban Road in Donvale. I'm concerned with the council plans to dramatically increase the size of the Lookover Road drain culvert crossing on Oban Road from 0.8 metres to 1.2 by 2.7, which is nearly 7 times the size. I've been living here at our house for 20 years. In that time, it's rarely flooded. It was rarely flooded the road and would therefore appear to be working fine. The upgrades made in 2003 and 2004 of the crossing have worked well to control the flow on heavy rain days by restricting the volume and velocity that cause the erosion. I've got 2 streams on my property. The $600,000 pipe upgrade will increase the volume and velocity and impact on our culvert crossing that is shared with AusNet. So we have a crossing further down the stream, which it'll run into. I fear enlarging the culvert will cause further erosion to the stream banks, taking away more of our land. Due to the road height being raised, our driveway and entrance will be 1 metre lower than the road, and this will increase an existing problem with road water washing it away and down the stream as well. So the questions are, we asked for some sort of guarantee that no negative impact, that we're not going to get any negative impact to our crossing with the increased amount of events that will happen due to the extra water coming through. And the second question is just a guarantee that no negative impact to our driveway or entrance as well, because we're worried that's going to have issues too.
Yep, so thank you very much, Mr Wickens, for your question.
Yep.
We did receive it just before the meeting,
Yep.
so I've had a quick conversation with the officers and in particular our CEO, and we're going to take it on notice.
Okay.
So you will receive a formal response in writing to your questions.
Okay,
So-
fantastic.
Yeah, so thank you very much for coming.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, thank you.
No.
Okay, all right, and as there are no further questions from the public, I'll go to item 8 on the agenda, which is admission for urgent business, and there are no items of urgent business. So we then move to standard item number 9, which is the planning permit applications, and there are no planning permit applications. So we now move to item 10 on the agenda, which is city planning and community, and 10.1, the draft community facilities access and concession policy.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move a motion, if I may.
Certainly, Councillor McLeish.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move that we refer item 10.1 to a future strategic briefing session for further discussion.
Thank you, Councillor McLeish. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Chen, thank you. As a procedural motion, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. 10.2, Community Representatives for Livability, Innovation and Technology Committee. Do I have a mover? Councillor Zafiropoulos.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted with the appointment of the following community representatives to the Livability, Innovation and Technology Committee for the period 2019-2021. And the representatives are Dan Frawley, Warren Burns, John Thangaraja, Bob Sharon, Alex Young, Christine Guramanis, Aideen Mohajeri and James Poyner.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McLeish. Would the mover like to speak?
Just a few words, Madam Mayor. This committee is part of Council's objective to move into the smart city area that some councils are moving in. In recent years, technology has allowed a lot of smart workings at council level, and this council has got a number of practices in place, but we felt that consulting with the community would enable us to further enhance our objectives by brainstorming and coming up with new ideas. The people that we selected tonight have got excellent background and record and competencies in the area that we're looking for. So I'm looking forward to the first meeting, which is going to be in a couple of weeks' time, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm pleased to speak to this particular matter, and I'd actually like to thank the mover of the motion tonight for their foresight in kicking off the initiative that's established this particular committee. It will be a great boon to our city to see our council and our organisation take advice from those who live in our city who have exceptional experience in this space. If there's one thing that I've learnt in my time here at council is that we are not authors of all that is good for our city. Much that is good that happens in our city comes from our community, be that through volunteering or other forms. And these people have stepped up to bring their professional expertise to bear, to assist council in livability and innovation, and I see that as a critical deliverable in us making Manningham the most livable city in Melbourne, I should say. And I'm very pleased to be able to support this particular initiative and look forward to meeting with the high calibre of people that we are appointing to this committee to help our city grow and develop.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 11 on the agenda, City Services. There are no City Services reports. Item number 12, Shared Services. 12.1, 2018 to 19 Financial Report and Performance Statement. Adoption in principle. Do I have a mover? Councillor Kleinert.
That the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Goff. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is in principle, adopt the financial report and performance statement for 2018-19. This happens every year. I'm pleased being on the audit committee with yourself, Madam Mayor, and we were satisfied with both the external audit process that was undertaken and that the committee's review of the reports did not identify any issues. It's a very good financial report. Thank you to Kevin Eyre and his team. The financial statements present council in a sound financial position with a low financial sustainability risk, which many other councils in Victoria unfortunately aren't as lucky as us. But with that, the key finance facts is that we're at 29.15 million in surplus. That's before asset reevaluation, to a 2.16 billion net asset. I think that's, we're in good position. This is a process that happens every year. The financial report and performance statement will then be reproduced in full after the endorsement to the Auditor General in Council's annual 2018 and 19 annual report. So,
thank you. Would the seconder like to speak?
Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against the motion? Any further speakers? Accordingly, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Number 13 on the agenda, Chief Executive Officer, 13.1, the 2018 to 19 Draft Annual Report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Kleinert.
that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McLeish. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, this is a draft of the annual report, and in summary, I actually like the message from our CEO and actually from yourself, Madam Mayor, which highlighted some meaningful initiatives that were delivered this year, and we recognise and support our community, including the Business Excellence Awards, our Civic Awards, our Parenting Series, which has been extremely popular, and a lot of feedback with I think it's over 2,500 parents attending, carers and interested people, to foster a positive change as they raise their future or our future generation. Our Parks Alive program, which has been outstanding. Our award-winning Powerful Stories initiative that shared personal stories of 10 local women as they reflect on their journeys, advancements and hopes. And certainly if you haven't seen that, that's very good too. I'm sure that it's still up on Facebook, because it's quite incredible and quite moving. So again, I'm really proud to represent Manningham. This is a fabulous report. Highlights your year in review. We've done 10 exhibitions, 11 public programs. This is, how's this, 115,085 calls received in our contact centre. That equates to nearly each one of our residents in Manningham. So that's pretty incredible. And our building permits surpassed 1,400. Waste diverted from landfill, I love this, 53.2%. The list is on, it'll all be once it's, this is the draft, it goes out, comes back for us to finally endorse it with some great stats, some encouraging things that we're doing here in Manningham.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. These are indeed quite an impressive set of reports that we're presenting tonight. And indeed, it bears noting that as a city we have been recognised over a number of years as producing one of the best annual reports in local government. I believe, if the officer can correct me, we received a report an award quite recently for this. If someone could advise me what it was, I would love to hear from the people responsible.
Is that a question, Councillor McLeish? That is yes. I'll put that question to Karen. Thank you.
We won a gold award in the ARIA Award.
The Australian Annual Reporting Report's a gold medal
Excellent.
for our annual report. Excellent. And that speaks to the quality of the reports that we're producing and the effective ability that the organisation is bringing to bear to communicate with our city what the city is doing with all of the funds that we manage on their behalf. And it also reports when we haven't done so well. And that's an important part of an annual report, to make sure that we say the good with the bad. And in talking about that, I'd like to talk about planning just for a second. 2016, our planning, we had an issue in planning. We were only processing planning applications. Only 39% odd of planning applications were being processed within the statutory time. Well, in this year's annual report, if you have a look at it, you'll find the stat is now 81%. It's more than double. And that's part of the information going into the public realm and us as councillors learning about the performance of our organisation and encouraging organisational improvement. It's a very good statistic to be able to report, and I think if you look through the annual report, you'll see many of those types of quality improvements within our organisation as we continue to reform what we do and how we do it and improve it. You will see many awards for high quality project management. I think there are 4 or 5 awards that the council received for quality project management. That's implementing change within the organisation, most specifically technological change, which is improving productivity within the organisation and improving service to our city. I'm very pleased to see those sorts of awards because it tells us that the organisation is firing on all cylinders and is delivering quality outcomes for the city and delivering on the goals we set as councillors for the council and for the organisation. I'm very pleased to see that. Another one that I'd like to touch on, debt repayment. You'll see that there is a debt of 7.28 million. But what you'll also note in the records is that we'll be paying that debt back this year. It's now a current liability. That debt will be paid down, it will disappear. It's around a defined benefit superannuation cost that came to council 7 years ago. We had to fund that. We borrowed money to do it. We set ourselves a goal of saving the money to pay that debt down. The debt will be paid this financial year. What's more, we also set ourselves a goal of preparing for the next time we get a call on defined benefit super. So if council has to top up the defined benefit super, we have now accumulated another 5 million towards that. So we're being a very prudent council. We are saving for the future, preparing the organisation in case of economic downturn, whilst improving the productivity and capability of the organisation. So I'm very pleased with this set of reports, and I ask my fellow councillors to accept the draft.
Thank you, Councillor McLeish. Are there any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. We now turn to 13.2, Manningham's quarterly report for quarter number 4, April to June 2019. Do I have a mover? Councillor Goff.
Moved as on the paper, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kleinert. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. After we've done the annual one, it's a bit superfluous to come back to the 4th quarter, but I will just mention a couple of words about that particular one. And in fact, on that, I suppose, coming into the future, the next quarterly report will have some reflection on this. There were a couple of areas that were highlighted, and one of them was in the capital works area, where I think we're around the 10% below what we were expecting to achieve at the time. And the explanation is put into a report with a number of issues that did come with contractors, staff of our own council. That was a great, coming prior to this last financial year, there was quite a bit of change within the organisation in personnel and going throughout that particular time. So that would have had an effect on it. So in many ways, Madam Mayor, the proof of the pudding will be how many of those have been completed in the first and second quarters of this financial year, because that amount, 9 or 10 million, I think, capital works was carried over into this financial year for that, which is good. I was going to mention what was mentioned before about by Councillor McLeish about the planning applications and done in time, and that is a very rewarding point for that last quarter, and it brings us up right within that. Another one was about rubbish to landfill, not to landfill, rubbish that is actually diverted from landfill. We achieved the highest ever. Now, that's really good in a climate that would have had an effect of other councils finding that their stuff was going to, I don't know where. Whether it was counted as going to landfill yet, I don't know. But that's well managed. I don't know whether we can, into the future, but it's a big area that we need to look out on with the climate of recycling in Victoria, which is probably at a crisis level into the future, and that's one thing we have to look out for. But a great result for that. And I think, well, the underlying surplus that we do celebrate, I think in effect, and correct me if I'm wrong, was due to some funds being forwarded to us earlier than normal from grants from federal. Yeah, so that would have put the figure into there. But a great report for that, which has unfortunately been superseded by the annual report. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. Would the seconder like to speak? No? Any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, now we're up to 13.3, the draft response submission to the Victorian Electoral Commission's Electoral Representation Review Preliminary Report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Haynes.
The recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Chen. Councillor Haynes, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Victorian Electoral Commission review, don't we love that? Anyway, it's been out in public. We've had our bit to say at Council, and I want to thank the Council for definitely discussing that with us at length and putting forward our submissions. And as a Council, as an Electoral Commission, they were reviewing us, and part of what was out on the street, and a lot of words were being said that they were going to make us all single ward members and all these other things, mergers with other councils, all these different things to do with their review. But the review draft came to us. We as a council put submissions through. As an individual, I also put my submission through. That's within the report, because I really think that we needed to stay, and I still think we need to stay, because this is a draft going back to the Minister and others, as a multi-member wards, and I'm very grateful that the council also feels the same way, and that the only change that's been made through the Victorian Electoral Commission toing and froing to us has now just been a moving of the boundary of the wards due to the members and the extra people that now live within the Coonung ward, and so they were looking at moving it from one area of Manningham or the other, and thankfully, as the Coonung ward has had an area of Bulleen in it for so long, it is now being taken back to what I call the Bulleen people, in our submission back, to be able to have the people in Bulleen be represented by that Heidi ward. So I think this is a really good review submission from Council, and I'm really looking forward to Councillors' support on what we're taking forward to the VEC. Hopefully they won't change their minds over the years to make us all single-member wards. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Would the seconder like to speak?
Councillor Heng has done it all, but I just want to emphasise that the VEC has proposed two options, option A and option B. So option A is the preferred option, basically just remove the boundary and just shift the western boundary of Coonan Ward from Thompson Road to L Street and Osweight Avenue, if I pronounce it correctly. And this is a minor change. And option B, just basically shift the boundary from the southern end of between Coonan and Mullen Ward to from Doncaster Road and Tunstall Road to Blackburn Road. So that means the entire Tunstall Square shopping centre will be in Mullen Ward. So the drawback of option B is Bulling will remain split, and more of the urban area, mainly Doncaster East, will be included in Mullen Ward, which further changed the mostly semi-rural nature of the ward. So basically, option A is the preferred VEC option and also the council's preferred option. So I seek my fellow council's support to the recommendation.
Thank you, councillor. Any speakers against the motion? Okay. Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item 13.4, review of instruments of delegation from council to members of staff. Do I have a mover? Councillor McLeish.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Zaparopoulos. Would the mover like to speak?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seconded? No? Okay, accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. 13.5, record of assembly of councillors. Do I have a mover? Councillor Chen.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Oh, Councillor Kleinert. Thank you. Would the mover like to speak? No. Seconder? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. 13.6, documents for sealing. Do I have a mover? Councillor Haynes.
I move the recommendation be adopted with the addition of the following agreement: consent to build over an easement agreement under section 173 of the Planning and Environment Act 1987, Council and Wellington Street Proprietary Limited, 8 Toronto Avenue, Doncaster.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Galbally. The procedural motion, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 14, urgent business. There's no items of urgent business. We turn to item number 15, which is councillors' question time. Do I have a question?
I have one.
Yes, Councillor Chen.
Madam Mayor, and my question is, the North East Link public hearing was held across 9 weeks at the Veneto Club and was concluded yesterday. And our officers have been attending the hearing daily, taking notes, perusing hundreds of pages of documents and assisting our legal representatives. I also attended some section and to support our local community, but I have to say that it is really not easy to sit through the whole daily session and absorbing very technical information. And my question to the officers is, can officers tell us about their experience at the public hearing and what will be the next steps to be taken after the public hearing? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll direct that question to the Director of City Planning and Community, Mr Karumbas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you, and thank you, Councillor, for your question. Look, I think as you've stated, a number of councillors would be aware, because a number of councillors attended the hearings. It was definitely a very intensive process for officers going through that process, but I think we had a good hearing as a council. We took a very cross-organisational, multidisciplinary approach in our submission to the panel, so a number of different parts of the organisation contributed. And we also, as you know, collaborated with the other councils where we could, where we had common points, which was the majority of our submission. And where we didn't agree, we definitely put in a strong case to NELP, as you're aware. So I suppose the other thing I would add is that it's only the start of the process. So although it's been intense, the project is only still in its infancy, so that intensive workload will continue. So in terms of the next steps, to answer the second part of your question, under the terms of reference, they have the IAC has 30 days, I believe, to consider all the material that's been presented to it and prepare a report for the Minister for Planning. And we expect the Minister for Planning, based on previous advice and announcements, to make a decision sometime before the end of this year. In the meantime, this council and our officers definitely will continue to be advocating and working collaboratively with NALP in particular to get some, to make sure that council's positions continue to be heard and reflected in the final approvals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Columbus. Thanks. Any other questions? Accordingly, well, there's item number 16, which is confidential reports, and there are no confidential reports. And on that note, I'll close the meeting.